Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to XRS Plus. I am Avi the Cobra, of course, with my esteemed co-host, Raven West. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. It's good to be here.
This is crazy. When I said I was going to cook with this podcast, I was not lying. You guys are seeing our faces, and it's beautiful. Welcome to the podcast, and it's an exciting podcast, and I'm very excited to do it with Raven West. We've got our season predictions for the first ever season of XRS, and got a few categories to go through, and I'm sure you're looking forward to it. Raven's looking forward to it too. We're going to get straight into it. Let's not muck about. First of all, first prediction. We're going straight in. Best raced weekend. Which track is going to perform over the 4 tiers and just be insane? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. And it's a track that I don't think people would have expected. Anyone who knows me and knows the kind of tracks I like probably wouldn't have expected me to pick this one. But I've very specific reasons, and a small part of me worries that you might have picked the same one. It's a favourite of yours, to say the least.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've gone for Austria, as I think is going to be the most
Wow.
the best racing across all 4 divisions. It's
Yeah.
a simple track, 10 corners, lots of straights, 3 batches of DRS, one after the other, sprint weekend. So we have 3 DRS zones. We have lots of overtaking opportunities in corners. We have not overly complex corners. We have fairly simple track layout. It's going to be a real separation between men against boys, but I think it's going to be really close the entire way. I think Austria with the sprint as well. That's going to be one of the best weekends to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting. I was split between my choice and Austria, so it's interesting you've said that. I've gone for another sprint. I've gone for Spain. I'm thinking this is a track that I've said it before. People don't, well, not everyone looks forward to it and think the Spain's gonna be a banger weekend. It's a track that makes great racing. The first sector staying wheel to wheel through that first and second little complex through turns 1 and 2, staying around turn 3. Of course, we've got history at turn 3 and 4. Malachi spinning, losing the title in season 2. You know, that whole complex, you can stay wheel to wheel. 2 DRS straights allows the pack to group up in that middle field. And of course, we've got the new revised layout at the end. You can carry so much speed down the straight. It's a long DRS straight as well. I think Spain is an underrated one. I think it's going to come through and make a good race. But we're on to chaotic race weekend. I'm going to start with this one, actually. Straight away, putting it straight in. You're going to hate it, Canada. Get out. Canada, never... It's going to be so many crashes, man. So many crashes in Canada. Canada, yeah, I mean, the rules don't do it any favours. I don't like Canada. I think it makes for awful race for league racing, unless you're at the front or far behind at the back. I think the midfield, which I experienced last season in KRL, was a bit mental. So I've gone for Canada. What about you?
So, okay, I can see why you've gone with Canada. I feel like Canada will be chaos if drivers are making mistakes. I feel like my choice is going to be chaos no matter what happens. I've gone for Jeddah as my crazy one. And the reason being is not only is it a track that's very high speed, lots of ballsy corners, lots of ballsy overtaking opportunities, lots of DRS. You've got obviously the double DRS being the last straight and then the home straight, making a lot of overtaking. Like any overtaking that happens before the last corner often is reversed again before turn 1. But also it's the second last round of our season. I think there's going to be either at least one championship decided on that weekend, and there's going to be at least one championship that is heavily shifted or tilted by that weekend.
That's true.
I think its placement on the calendar is because at that point in the season there'll be drivers. It's going to come to the business end. It's going to be at the business end. There's going to be drivers who are going to be just leaving everything out there, and what a track to leave everything out there on, other than Jeddah. Like it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that one. That one's going to be crazy.
Okay, right, we're getting straight on with the individual tiers. So we're going to start off right at the top. We'll start with Div 1, fastest boys. We're going to start with constructors. Do you want to go one by one and go back and forth? That could be a good way to compare it, actually. For Div 1 constructors, I've gone for Red Bull. I think that the teammate chemistry between Banjo and Neb is going to be really strong. They've been teammates before in KRL. We know how it works. Banjo's really cooking as a TP. I think they're going to bring the challenge up to the front of Div 1. But what about you?
So, I fully respect the Red Bull shout. Neb and Banjo.
All my answers, you're just like, no, you're not having this.
Red Bull. No, Banjo and Neb have worked together in that very team in KRL. They won constructors together. I've been with them on track as teammates. I know myself how annoying they are when they're working together beside each other on track. They're a proper pain in the side. However, I trust myself and my teammate more. I think me and JB have what it takes to dethrone the Neb and Banjo combo. I really do. I
was thinking about you as well. Actually, I was thinking about it could be Raven. It could very easily be Raven.
Yeah. I think I can beat Neb. I think JB can edge out Banjo. I'm really looking forward to it though. I think it's going to be. Yeah. I honestly think it's one of the more interesting constructor fights out of all the league. Is that Div 1 between ourselves, and obviously all four of us were Ferrari drivers last season in KRL. So we all know each other very well. We all know how each other drives. We all know what to expect from each other. We all know each other's dirty tricks, our clean tricks. We just know each other so well. So I feel like whenever races happen where two Red Bulls and two Ferraris are finding themselves sharing the exact same bit of track, I think there's gonna be fireworks. But I had to put faith in myself. I had to put faith in my teammate and my boys. I think we're gonna edge the Red Bull boys out. But no disrespect at all to Red Bull, men's in that. But I think I've got the edge.
Fair enough. We'll go into the drivers, and we'll go third, second, first. So we'll jump back and forward. Mm-hmm. For third place in the drivers' championship, I've gone for Teshubi. I think him in the McLaren under Mill's wing. I think he's an underrated boy. He did really well against some of the really big names like Tano and Elias in KRL. I can't see why he can't bring the fight to Ferrari and Red Bull up at the front of the drivers' championship.
Completely agree. However,
because
it was for me, my third place spot in Div 1 was going between two people. Teshubi was one of them. I've gone for the other one though. I've gone for B Lupip, the new boy. Ooh. I know him from TRC. I've raced him beside him. He outqualified me in Silverstone TRC by about 6 tenths. And yeah, he's very quick when he needs to be. Very quick on his day. I really think he's going to be carrying a couple of his team up a lot higher, and I just think he's a good signing. I think he's going to be a real quick driver. I think he's going to be a pain in the side of everyone.
Fair enough. I've never seen him before, so he's an interesting little surprise for us in this little scene. For P2, the runner-up of the driver standings, I have gone for Neb Restroom. I think he's a very consistent driver. He's won titles before. He fought in literally every single Tier 1 battle we've had in KRL. And I'm really excited to see what we can do beside a brand new teammate in Banjo. In this league, I say brand new. They're like best friends in terms of league racing. But I think he's going to get P2. I think he's good. He's a quick driver and he'll get up there.
You know what, Avi? I agree with you. I've gone Neb for P2 as well. I think I think him and Banjo are going to be working well together. I imagine that as the season progresses, I know myself from working with Banjo and seeing him operate in previous seasons, he will not be afraid to throw himself to the second driver role if it needs to be, if Neb's having a good championship. I feel like Neb having that kind of teammate with him is what fuels him, what carries him forward. I feel like, especially looking at the last season in KRL, obviously we're on our first season, but we can use season 4 in KRL as a bit of a reference point going into this season. I feel like with Banjo in his corner, Neb's a wholly different creature, and I think he's gonna be P2. I think he's gonna be fighting for the top spot, but I think ultimately he's gonna finish P2.
Fair enough. We agree on one of them. That's good. For P1. Put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Raven West is going to be the Division 1 champion. I think he is too consistent and too fast in that combo to lose. I don't think it's going to be close because Neb is a real challenge. Teshubi is a real challenge. I've never heard of this B Lupip guy, but he seems from sources he's going to be quick. We know what Raven can do. We've seen him in Tier 2 last season in KRL. He was an absolute monster when he needs to be. Look at Canada. Look at Spain. Look at Australia right at the start of the season. He was pretty much untouchable until he was touched and then got back to where he was originally. I think Raven now aiming for the bigger thing. He's going for his own league. in the top tier. He's going to be the fastest driver in the league. I think he's going to win the title.
I enjoyed listening to that. I very, very much enjoyed listening to that, I'll be honest. I'm just sitting back there enjoying it. And even more reason why I enjoy listening to it, Abby, is because I've also put myself down as a number one spot. I'm coming for it. It's happening. It's going to happen. I'm pushing for it, and you best believe it. I'm coming. Div 1, I'm coming. I've only started. I've only just started. I'm coming. But yeah. I have put myself. I have to back myself. I have to do it. I feel like I can do it, and I feel like I'm going to do it.
Fair enough. But best driver pairing. So we're going through a couple of little smaller categories before we move on to Div 2. The first of two is the best driver pairing, best teammates. We think these two are going to work really well together. Strategies will work perfectly. Red Bull. I have to go Neb and Banjo. They're, like I said, best friends in league racing. They've been teammates since I've met them, pretty much, and they've never strayed to the side. I think that they're going to do fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. I've put Neb and Banjo down in the Red Bulls. I just anyone who doesn't know how well they work together is either brand new to the, shall we say, KRL racing scene. They haven't seen anything yet. You can't have seen these two boys working together and not think they're incredible teammates together. So, absolutely. It's I put Red Bull down as the best pairing in Div 1. I had to debate between myself and JB because we had such a good season in Season 4 KRL. The one thing that I really valued about JB and teammate, if it wasn't myself on the podium, he was there every single time. Yeah. I think it was, actually looking back at the stats, apart from Qatar, in which I was riddled with COVID and he got crashed out on the second corner, every single race, one of us finished on the podium. So that was, it was a great season from us. But yeah, I just feel like even though I think that Ferrari are going to edge it in the constructors, I feel like in terms of on track aid and helping each other and teammates, pretty much, I think Neb and Banjo just have an unspoken line of communication as well as obviously the spoken one. I feel like they can have complete radio silence and still do exactly what they need for each other.
Yeah. And we go on to the biggest teammate rivalry. These are two drivers who maybe just don't get on. Not like Neb and Banjo. Sometimes they might bang wheels. They're not enjoying each other's presence on track. And they're aiming to be the top driver. For my teammate rivalry, the biggest teammate rivalry in Div 1, I've gone for Alfie and Zilagi. I was close to putting Haas. I won't lie. But I did edge out, and I thought Alfie and Zilagi. I think they're both very quick drivers, but what we know from their experience is they're both aggressive drivers. They both like to make those moves. And if they do it at the wrong time, I think that it's just going to cause tension on a team that really values the points that they're going to get. Like, in Alfa Romeo, Div 1 are going to be a really nutritious, they're going to be a really good haven for points for the team, for a team that's fighting for getting into this midfield and being solid in this midfield. And I hope they don't waste points on battling like that. But we've seen what both of them can do on their day. We've seen their mistakes too.
No, you're absolutely dead on. I've gone for a different pairing, and I didn't go for the Haas boys either.
I think oh no!
I've gone for the Aston boys. I think Iron Edits. On track. I don't think either of them are going to want to become the second driver. I feel like...
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't think either of them are going to want to move out the way for each other. I feel like they're both going to be very fruitful drivers for the Aston Martin team principal. But I can imagine there being some issues when they find themselves on the same bit of track and they're both fighting for their own drivers' championships. They're both fighting for their own points. Neither of them... but they're both on the same contract as well. They both have a one-season contract. So... they're both going to be wanting to prove to the team principal that they need to be there next season. I don't think there's going to be much in the way of niceties between them on track. There won't be much. I don't imagine there being much getting out the way and helping each other out. I imagine it will be, I'm going to use you to benefit myself, and that's going to be the mentality in both camps. I think the Aston boys are going to be causing the most fireworks inside of a team in Division 1. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to move on to Division 2. We're going to go down a division and to a tier that is no safe from the same kind of action we've been getting in Tier 1. But for Division 2, we're going to start off with the Constructors' Championship. Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
because I'm interested to see what you're saying. Here we go.
So, call me boring. I think Ferrari are going to do it in Div 2. So Div 2 is looking like one of the most stacked divisions I've seen in a while in any league. There's so many big names in there, and there's more coming in all the time. It's looking like a really interesting division. I think looking at KRL Season 4, the recovery that Casper and Dylan brought to Ferrari, because both of those drivers came in mid-season, and the recovery job they did in the constructors to lose it by, what was it, 2 points in the end?
1 point.
Only lose it by 1 point after being nowhere mid-season, to be honest. Well, my team was nowhere mid-season. Them boys came in and solved the problems. I think them two having a season together, they work well together, they bounce off each other well. I think them two having a full season together is going to be, I think they're just going to do enough to edge it out. I don't think them losing the Div 3 title is any sort of slight on them. I think that if they had a full season last season, they would have done it. I think they do it this season.
Yeah. I have also gone for Ferrari. As you were saying there, you were talking about their battle last season. I was obviously on the other end of that. I was in the McLaren team that beat them by 1 point, and I was the one getting chased by them almost. I know how that feels. They're both very capable drivers, especially Casper. At his time, when he was winning day in, day out, he was almost unbeatable. And to see him now, it's a completely different scene. I'm not there anymore. It's going to be real. There's big names. There's Malachi. There's Koi. There's Nick as well. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Dodo as well. Of course, Dodo is going to be very interesting. I think that those two together will bring back the constructors. It will be close, but I think they'll do it. Yeah. We're going to go on to P3 on the Drivers' Championship. Do you want to go first?
I think I'm going to surprise you with this one.
Okay. Okay.
I put Koi there. There. I think
Alpine.
So I race Koi week in, week out in another league called GRL. One of my other favourite leagues to race in. Shout out GRL. But Koi, he's a relentless driver. I was recently a guest on the GRL podcast, and I talked about Koi, and in it I just said he's just relentless. There's at no point when he's behind you do you have just a moment to breathe, a moment to it doesn't matter. He can have 25 seconds of track limit penalties, and he will still be going for every gap, every inch of track that he can find himself in, any way to slow you down, any way to impede you. It was in GRL France, me and him. It was I think in the last 6 laps, me and him swapped position at least twice a lap, if not more. Like he was just every single time he got a moment of momentum, any sort of gap on my inside, he just took it. He's relentless to be behind. I think in Div 2 he's going to be really at the front runners of the pace. I think he's just going to be just annoying his way up into these podium spots by just getting other drivers just to let him pass, so they have 5 minutes to breathe. Because when Koi's behind you, it's like how you hear the F1 the drivers describing what it's like to drive in front of Verstappen. He's just relentless. He's relentless. He doesn't give you a moment to yourself. So I think he's gonna really worm his way up there in a few places.
It's very interesting you've said all this, because my P3 is someone who I feel very similar about, but it's not the same person. I've gone for Moz Megan. Driving him, obviously I've been on the other end. Driving against him this season feels exactly the same. He's a very aggressive driver. He does look for the gaps. He just trying to stick his nose in there. Singapore and Abu Dhabi are 2 examples, because we did have battles there. We were fairly close to each other. And the way he drives is just... He plays always with a very aggressive strategy. You never see him on hard tyres. He's always on the faster tyre. He's always scrambling behind you, picking up positions as he goes. I can see he makes his exits fantastic. He's always zooming past people on the straights. And I think that he's going to be a very big part of Ferrari's... Well, my prediction, Ferrari's win in the Constructors. I think he's going to get P3. P2... Well, sorry, I'll go P2. P2, I've gone for my old boy. And I have to say it, because I think he's a fantastic driver. And I can't fault him. I think the Nick W, the Flying Slug, is going to come P2. I think that he is so... He's a fantastic driver. To be on full traction, to then tickle on the no traction every once in a while, I think he's very quick. And I think that there's only a way up for him. I've been his teammate. In my first ever league racing season ever, I was his teammate. And, I mean, I was getting out-qualified left, right, centre. I mean, if race pace, we'd have nice little times together, but he's a monster when he needs to be. And we saw that second half of Season 3 in KRL. and I think he's gonna bring the levels to Div 2. Have you gone for Dodo?
That's incredibly interesting. That's incredibly interesting, Abby, because I have gone for Dodo. He's going to make up. Everything you said is true, but he's going to make up for that season 3 where the championship just slipped out his fingers. He is coming. He's coming back, and you best believe Dodo's coming. I've
Nick and Dodo, I hope you're watching this. You look what we're doing again. We're doing season 3 all over again.
Dodo, this is your chance. This is your chance to right all those wrongs.
Nick, you've got this again, my boy. Nick, you're going to do it again.
Dodo, you can do this. You do this. Both these drivers drive for different teams than we represent, but we have their backs. Dodo, I'm going you all the way. You're gonna edge Nick out. Nick's not even gonna be top 3. You're gonna be there. It's gonna happen.
I can imagine both their faces watching this like, oh, they're starting it again.
Yeah.
We just made peace and they're starting it again.
And we're both on the same team now, and we're still going to beef over Nick and Dodo. We're still going to beef over Nick and Dodo.
But anyway, P1, have we gone for the same? We've gone for the
same. I've gone for
Casper, haven't we?
I've gone for Casper.
Casper. Yeah, I've gone for Casper as well.
I train with him. I work with him. He's incredible driver. His mentality in races are just unshaken. I'll think back to even Austria when he got spun in the race that got reran. His head was never dropped. He's always just there. He's always determined, never for giving up. And yeah, he's an incredible driver. Great mentality. Privileged to have him on the team, and I think he's gonna, with both Ferrari resources and Ferrari support, he's gonna cook in Div 2, and I think he's gonna be the one to take the championship.
Yeah, fair enough. Best driver pairing. I'll let you go first with this one because mine's a bit obscure.
I think Casper and Dylan. I think last season they worked so well together. It's not as interesting an answer as some of my other ones, but yeah, he's just I just can't move past him.
Yeah, fair enough. Mine was a little bit more obscure, and no one's going to be expecting it. This is more of it's a tad biased in terms of I'm on the inside of these two. I've gone for the Aston boys, HA Gamer and Boom Boy. I know them both in real life, and they know each other in real life. I think that straight away, I know they're mates. They're straight away going to put them together as good friends. I think that on track together, they're going to be working together. No one's seen what HA can bring because he's new to league racing. Boom Boy, on the other hand, he's become a monster. I mean, he started from middle to back of tier 3. By the end of the season, he was fighting with me. He was fighting with Casper. He was right at the front, causing us issues at the front. So if this trajectory continues, and I know HA Gamer is similar pace to both of us, they're going to be a monster. And I think that together they're going to do very well. Yeah. So I've gone for those two.
Fair enough.
Teammate rivalry, and I know who I put. So do you want to go? Go on.
I nearly put the Aston boys down, but after you said all that, I'm glad you didn't. I know Boom Boy, and I remember hearing something about HK being similar to Boom Boy, and I thought that them two being close in pace might cause issues, but if you're saying that they're really good mates in IRL, then I feel like, yeah, they're probably going to work well together. So I'm glad I've gone with the decision I've gone for. I've gone for Koyi and Conehead as two teammates I think are going to be, and I think for the same reasons as the Astons. We don't know Conehead obviously that well as we do some of the other drivers, but Koyi's not exactly the person to, again, just his relentlessness, he will just try and sneak past his teammate if he can. He was momentarily my teammate in GRL, and while we did work together, he was very eager to take advantage of every mistake I made when we were sharing the racetrack, and I was one position in front of him. I know that he'll be doing the same, and I know that maybe some other drivers might not be as keen to acknowledge they made a mistake, they've had a slip, their teammates got an opportunity to go past and just wave them through. I feel like maybe some of the drivers might be a bit more resistant to their teammate trying to take their first opportunity to get past, and it might create... Koyi's not one to back down, and if the other driver doesn't back down, then I could see maybe one or two wheel bangs, one or two spinning each other, maybe one double DNF like we saw 2016 Spain with the Mercedes. I think I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
I've gone for... In my head, I've placed a jigsaw on this one, and they just fit together as being a deadly duo. Maybe not in the best way. I've gone for the AlphaTauri boys. This based on... we've seen on Gone to the Moon. He's fairly new, in my eyes, to the league racing. I know I think he's part of GSRL. But the first race I saw him in, I think, was Austria, I want to say, in KRL. And straight away, what I learned, big defender. And I saw that I was engineering the McLaren boys in Abu Dhabi. Big defender. Would not let Millett get a chance to have a little sneak, have a little look. He didn't want him to look at the racing line ahead of him. He's a big defender. He likes his personal space up ahead. That combined with Zinks, he's one of the most aggressive drivers I know, and he just will throw his car into things. I feel like it's just going to go wrong, and the two are going to snap at some point and hit each other. So that's why, in a jigsaw way, I think they're both good at something, but then when they fit together, it just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I can see that. I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I back it.